The jungle of Nexus 9 did not forgive. Every sound was sharper here, every rustle a warning, every shadow a promise of teeth. The air was thick with a green haze that stung the lungs and coated the tongue with a bitter metal taste. Beneath the canopy, light fractured into shifting patterns, never steady, never safe. And yet a human walked into it, unarmed, alone, humming softly. Her name was Dr. Maya Patel, xenobiologist from Earth. Her boots sank slightly in the mossy ground as she pushed deeper into a clearing known to every local species as a death zone. The data drones hovering above her fed live footage to a group of hidden watchers, aliens crouched behind an energy camouflage screen 6 kilometers away. The aliens were Valaxians, tall, insected beings with slick black carapaces and branching ocular appendages that flexed whenever emotions spiked. They had been sent to observe humans, to document the inevitable extinction of yet another reckless species trying to settle Nexus 9. Every other colonist species had lasted less than one planetary rotation. The Valaxians expected the same fate for humanity. Only the humans had already survived 3 months. Senior researcher Torque shifted uneasily in the cramped blind, his mandibles clicking as he muttered into his recorder. Subject Patel entering predator territory with minimal equipment. Probability of survival, 0. Extinction event in progress, whispered Zarn, the team's psychology specialist, his ocular stalks quivering with tension. Beside him, the young observer Gleeks pressed trembling claws to her chest plates. Please tell me you are recording this. Every sensor was indeed recording, because what followed would change galactic history. From the undergrowth emerged a striped apex hunter, the most feared predator of Nexus 9. Imagine a tiger from Earth, then add 2 extra legs, armored scales that shimmered like oil in moonlight, and venom sacs capable of paralyzing prey 10 times its size. The ground seemed to tremble with each padded step as the creature's 6 eyes locked on the human intruder. Maya Patel did not run. She smiled. "Hello, beautiful," she said softly, her voice steady. From her pack she withdrew a small container, popped the lid, and slid it across the moss with the tip of her boot. A sweet, synthetic aroma filled the clearing. The hunter froze, its throat rumbling with a growl deep enough to rattle bones. Zarn hissed, "She's dead. She doesn't even realize." But the predator did not pounce. It sniffed, edged closer, then lowered its fanged muzzle into the container. Its long, forked tongue scooped out the contents, a blend of protein compounds laced with flavor enhancers designed by human trial and error. The alien observer sat in stunned silence. Maya Patel knelt, reaching out. Against every law of survival, she placed her hand gently on the armored head of the deadliest predator on Nexus 9. "Good girl," she murmured as if soothing a pet dog. "I knew you'd like it. Where are your bobbies today?" And then, as if summoned, 4 cubs burst from the ferns, scaled, vibrant, restless. They bounded toward the human, batting at her boots, yipping like playful monsters. Maya laughed, tossing them small food tablets from her pouch. The Valaxian research team nearly collapsed in disbelief. "This defies all evolutionary logic," Torque rasped. "Predator-prey dynamics don't allow this cannot." "It must be pheromone control," Kra, the security officer, interrupted, retreating behind the largest equipment case. "Or hidden weaponry. No natural creature would allow this." But Zarn whispered the thought that none dared speak aloud. "Or humans possess something we don't understand." The protagonist. Back at the settlement, the human outpost called Horizon, Dr. Patel logged her day's work without a trace of fear. Her colleague, Dr. Aaron Burke, shook his head as she replayed the footage. He was broad-shouldered, ex-military turned biochemist, his arm marked with scars from another planet's hostile fauna. "You're insane, Maya," Aaron muttered. "You keep poking death with a stick and expecting it to wag its tail." Maya grinned. "That's because sometimes it does." Aaron scrubbed a hand over his face. "One slip, one mistake, those things tear you apart." "And if we never try, Aaron, we'll never learn. They're not mindless killers, they're intelligent, social. Look at the way the cubs followed her cues, there's structure here, communication." Aaron swore under his breath, "You're going to get us all killed." But he still helped her log the data, still calibrated the chemical markers for the next batch of treats, still stood by her even when common sense screamed to run. Because humanity, reckless as it was, never achieved anything by hiding. Alien eyes. In the Valaxian camp, chaos reigned. They replayed the footage again and again, mandibles clattering in disbelief. The council had ordered them to observe the humans until extinction. But what they had witnessed was not extinction, it was coexistence. Torque silenced his team. No conclusions yet, we expand our surveillance. Tomorrow we observe at closer range. I want every detail. If these humans are capable of bonding with apex predators, the implications are. He trailed off, words failed. Because the implications were impossible. Rising tension. Days passed, more encounters followed. Maya brought the mother predator treats, studied her behavior, taught the cubs not to climb her environmental suit. Other humans joined, Dr. Rajkumar with his calm patience, Dr. Novik with her careful observations. Every time the predators accepted them, no ambush, no blood. And then came the day the unimaginable happened. Maya returned to Horizon's settlement, with the adult predator following behind her. The Valaxians nearly tore their camo net apart in panic. "She's leading it to their home," Gleeks cried. At the perimeter, Maya turned, raising her hand. "This is as far as you go, Mama. Rules are rules, you know that." The predator stopped, sat back on its haunches, obeyed. Humans emerged from the settlement, pointing, smiling, recording the scene like tourists at a zoo. To the Valaxians, it was madness. To the humans, it was progress. Torque recorded, his mandibles trembling. They are treating death like a dinner guest, and it is listening. The human factor. That night, the Valaxians argued fiercely. "It must be technology," Kra insisted. "Some hidden field, some trick." "No," Zarn countered. "It is them, their minds, their compassion. They see danger, acknowledge it, and then befriend it. No other species we know does this. No other species would dare." Torque could not sleep. He reviewed hours of data, watching frame by frame as fragile humans reached out to monsters. No weapons, no shields, just food, patience, laughter. And somehow it worked. The cliffhanger. On the 27th day of observation, everything changed. The Valaxians' camouflage shimmered, distorted, then failed. The energy field had been disrupted. From the jungle edge, Dr. Maya Patel stood staring directly at them. Hands on hips, calm, curious, no fear. "I know you're there," she called out, her voice carrying through the alien night. "Your energy field messes with the insect flight patterns. Dead bugs gave you away." Torque's entire team froze. Protocol demanded retreat, immediate extraction, denial of contact. But Maya took one step closer, smiling as though she had just bumped into colleagues at a conference. "Well," she said brightly, "hello there, I'm Dr. Maya Patel, and you are." Torque's 4 limbs trembled. Every council regulation screamed against revealing themselves. And yet, in that moment, faced with the most dangerous species he had ever studied, Torque found himself making a decision that would change galactic history. "Deactivate camouflage," he ordered. The screen dissolved. The Valaxian stood exposed. Maya's smile widened. "Wonderful," she said. "Now shall we compare notes?" For a moment, no one moved. The jungle around them buzzed with life, shrieking insects, whispering leaves, the distant rumble of predators on the hunt. The Valaxians stood exposed, their carapaces glistening under alien moonlight. Torque felt the weight of centuries of council protocol pressing down on him. But the human woman did not flinch. Instead, Maya Patel folded her arms, tilted her head, and said, "Your camouflage was good, better than ours, but you really should account for how it affects the local ecosystem. Bugs dropping dead in neat little circles, kind of obvious." Her tone was casual, like a teacher giving polite feedback to a student's science project. Torque swallowed hard, his mandibles clicking. "I am Senior Researcher Torque, United Galactic Research Division. We are conducting an observational study." "Of us," Maya nodded knowingly. "Makes sense, we're kind of reckless." Behind Torque, his team squirmed in disbelief. Zarn hissed, "Protocol forbids this. She's not supposed to know we exist." But Torque couldn't look away from Maya. Her posture was open, her voice calm. She wasn't afraid. More than that, she was inviting. "Since you've already been watching," Maya continued, "you must have questions, and I've got 1,000 for you. Want to compare notes?" Breaking protocol. The Valaxians hesitated. Gleek's ocular appendages twisted nervously. Craw muttered about activating defensive shields. But Torque raised one clawed hand. Silence. This was unprecedented, dangerous, possibly career-ending. But something inside him whispered that retreating now would be a greater mistake than breaking every council regulation in the book. Very well, Torque said. We will exchange information. Maya's smile widened. Wonderful, come on then. Outpost Horizon is just up ahead. We'll make some tea. Tea, Gleeks whispered in confusion. An earth beverage, Zarn explained distractedly, still trembling. Boiled plant matter in hot water, harmless. Unless poisoned, Craw muttered darkly. Outpost Horizon. The human settlement was primitive compared to Valaxian engineering. Wood and polymer huts clustered around a central dome of reinforced steel. But there was life everywhere. Lights strung between poles glowed warm against the alien night. Laughter echoed from inside the dome. Children's toys lay scattered near the perimeter fence. Torque blinked all four eyes. There are juveniles here. Yes, Maya said, holding the gate open for them. That's why we're doing this carefully. Survival's not just about us, it's about the next generation. Inside the dome, the Valaxians were overwhelmed by the sensory overload. Humans moved in every direction, examining samples, repairing equipment, sharing meals. Their faces were animated with expression, smiling, frowning, scowling. To Torque's team, it looked like chaos. To the humans, it was harmony. Director Samuel Akin-Quo, tall, dark-skinned, broad-shouldered, approached, flanked by two scientists. His expression was wary but not hostile. Maya, he said slowly, you've brought guests. Alien guests, Maya replied with a grin. And polite ones, they've been observing us for weeks. Akin's brows furrowed. From the Council. Torque hesitated. From the United Galactic Research Division. The director's mouth twitched as though suppressing a smile. Well, that explains a lot. The first exchange. They sat around a round table, humans on one side, Valaxians on the other. The humans offered steaming mugs of tea. The Valaxians declined, antennas curling in suspicion. Let's begin simply, Torque said, activating a recorder. We observed Dr. Patel interacting with apex predators without being killed. This behavior contradicts all known models. Explain. Maya sipped her tea. Simple. We figured out what they liked to eat, showed them we weren't a threat, and kept showing up until they trusted us. Turns out predators are a lot like people. They respect consistency. Zarn's eyes bulged. You are comparing scaled killing machines to yourselves. Of course, Maya shrugged. Every species has patterns. Once you see the pattern, you can build a bridge. It's not about domination, it's about communication. Craw's mandibles clicked in disbelief. Or lunacy. Torque cut him off. And what is your long-term goal? Director Akin leaned forward. His voice was calm, deliberate. Coexistence. If we wipe out every predator, the ecosystem collapses. If we ignore them, they kill us. The only option left is cooperation. Torque recorded every word, his mind racing. No council species had ever considered such a thing. Predators were controlled, eradicated, or avoided, never befriended. The antagonist emerges. The meeting stretched for hours. Humans explained their research. The Valaxians shared fragments of their own. And then came the question Torque dreaded. Why are you really here? Director Akin asked. Torque hesitated. Observation, to determine survival probability. Akin's eyes narrowed. Survival probability, you mean you expected us to die? The dome went quiet. Every human in the room froze, their gazes sharpening. The warmth in the air shifted to ice. Torque's mandibles clicked nervously. That was the expectation. No species has survived this world for long. Akin rose slowly, his voice hardened. So you came to watch us fail. Torque tried to respond, but words tangled in his throat. It was Maya who broke the silence. Then let's prove them wrong. Her voice was steady, filled with quiet fire. Akin's jaw tightened, but after a long pause, he sat again. Very well, but if you're here only to witness our extinction, you'll be disappointed. Torque's recorder whirred softly, capturing the moment. He felt the shift in the room. Humans weren't just surviving, they were defying every expectation. And defiance, he realized, was their nature. Dangerous curiosity. Over the following days, the Valaxians remained at Horizon, moving carefully among humans. To their shock, they were welcomed, offered food, shelter, even crude jokes. Gleeks found herself surrounded by laughing children who poked her carapace with sticky fingers. Zarn was cornered by Aaron Burke, who demanded to know how Valaxian psychology measured resilience. Even Kra, ever suspicious, was drawn into an engineering discussion about shield harmonics with Dr. Rajkumar. Torque observed it all with growing unease. The humans were reckless, yes, but they were also magnetic. Their curiosity was infectious, their fearlessness contagious. And then Maya invited them on her next field trip. "You'll want to see this," she said, tightening her boots. "The cubs are learning commands now." "Commands," Zarn echoed. Maya grinned. "Sit, stay, the basics, it's all about trust." Kra muttered furiously, "This is madness, we cannot accompany her." But Torque hesitated. The scientist in him burned for data. The alien in him whispered that something far larger was unfolding. He made his decision. "We go." Into the clearing. The jungle swallowed them again, thick, wet, alive with unseen dangers. Maya walked at the front, humming softly, her pack slung over one shoulder. The Valaxians followed, their claws twitching, weapons useless against what lurked in the shadows. At last they reached the clearing. Maya knelt, opened her pack, and gave a sharp whistle. The mother predator emerged first, scales glittering, eyes bright. She did not lunge, she sat. Then the cubs bounded forward, their claws clacking against stone. They surrounded Maya, tails lashing, eager. "Sit," Maya commanded, making a downward gesture. The mother obeyed instantly. The cubs fumbled but followed suit, chittering restlessly. Torque's mandibles gaped. "Impossible." "Not impossible," Maya corrected with a smile. "Just patience and respect." She tossed treats. The predators accepted them eagerly, then froze as Maya raised her hand again. "Stay." The cubs wriggled but stayed. The mother predator rumbled approval. Torque felt his chest constrict. He was watching the unwatchable, apex predators obeying a fragile human. The cliffhanger. Then it happened. One cub, Spot, as Maya called him, broke formation. With a playful squeal, he bounded straight toward the Valaxian observers. Torque's team panicked, claws scrambling for defensive fields. Gleeks screamed. Kra cursed. The cub skidded to a halt inches from Torque, its scaled muzzle sniffing curiously at his legs. Its eyes gleamed with alien hunger. "Maya," Torque shouted. But Maya only smiled. She raised her hand. "Spot back." The cub hesitated, then obeyed, scampering back to its mother. The Valaxians collapsed in trembling relief. Maya stood, brushing off her hands. Her smile was calm, but her eyes gleamed with fire. "You see," she said softly, "it's possible." Torque stared at her, heart hammering, every law of survival screaming that what he'd witnessed was madness. And yet deep inside, another thought whispered louder. What if she's right? The jungle clearing still hummed with tension, long after the predators vanished back into the undergrowth. Torque's claws trembled as he replayed the scene in his mind. The cub, Spot, barreling toward him with teeth sharp enough to shear through bone, and then stopping, obeying a single word from Maya Patel. It was impossible. It was undeniable. Maya brushed dirt from her trousers as though nothing extraordinary had happened. "They're quick learners," she said lightly, "almost as stubborn as human kids." Torque found his voice at last. "That cub could have ended me." "And yet he didn't," Maya replied calmly. "Because trust matters, because respect matters. You treat them like monsters, they'll act like monsters. You treat them like thinking beings, they'll surprise you." Her words rattled inside Torque's mind. Valaxian doctrine insisted predators were obstacles, not partners, but he had seen the cub's hesitation, seen the way it looked to its mother before obeying Maya. That was not instinct, that was choice. Zarn whispered, "She is rewriting natural law." Back at Horizon, the return to Horizon Outpost was quieter than usual. Even Kra, who always filled the silence with suspicion, stayed silent. Inside the central dome, Director Aachen listened intently as Torque's team relayed their perspective. His expression was unreadable. "So," Aachen said slowly, "you admit it. What we're doing here changes everything you thought you knew." Torque hesitated, mandibles twitching. "Yes, it appears so." Aachen leaned forward. His voice was calm, but beneath it was steel. Then you understand why we can't stop. Nexus 9 isn't just a test of survival, it's a proof of concept. If we can coexist here with predators this lethal, then maybe humanity isn't doomed to repeat the mistakes of Earth. Maybe we can learn to share space instead of conquering it. Zarn's ocular appendages quivered. Your ambition is admirable, but reckless. Auken's gaze sharpened. Reckless is why we're still alive. The council calls. That night, Torque's comm device pulsed with an incoming signal. The holographic image of Commander Plux filled the small quarters, his carapace gleaming with authority. Torque, Plux's voice snapped, report. Torque recounted the events as objectively as possible. Predator interaction, human survival, emerging communication patterns. Plux's ocular stalk stiffened with disbelief. You allowed direct contact, you exposed yourselves. Yes, Torque admitted. Protocol was compromised, but the scientific opportunity was unparalleled. Plux's mandibles clicked furiously. You fool! Council Directive 549B forbids interaction with pre-assessment species. Return immediately. Torque's chest constricted. He could feel his team's eyes on him. With respect, Commander, Torque said carefully, retreat would mean abandoning unprecedented data. These humans have accomplished in weeks what we failed to achieve in centuries. Their methods may redefine xenobiology itself. Plux leaned closer, hologram flickering. You are risking your career, your team's safety, and council's stability. Torque took a deep breath through all 4 inlets. I am invoking research priority override Alpha 3. The silence that followed was suffocating. The override was ancient, almost forgotten, a clause allowing a senior field researcher to suspend protocol when confronted with a unique scientific phenomenon. Plux's expression froze. Then slowly his mandibles tightened. Very well, you have 48 hours, but know this, Torque, if anything goes wrong, you are alone. No rescue, no forgiveness. The hologram blinked out, leaving Torque trembling. Gleeks whispered, you've doomed us. But Maya's laughter echoed faintly from outside, children chasing Spot's name through the night air. Torque wasn't sure Gleeks was right. The first seeds of trust. The next morning, Maya brought Torque's team into Horizon's Xenobiology Center. The walls were plastered with sketches and maps of Nexus 9's creatures, behavior charts, anatomical diagrams, tracking data. We've cataloged 17 species so far, Maya explained proudly. 5 of them actively try to kill us on sight, 2 are neutral, and 10, well, we're still figuring them out. Torque examined a map showing migration paths of the striped apex hunters. He frowned. You are building communication protocols. Exactly, Maya's eyes gleamed. It's not about tamming them, it's about mutual boundaries. See, predators don't want unnecessary fights. They want food, territory. If we respect those, they can learn to respect us. Zarn murmured, you are anthropomorphizing, projecting your own values onto them. Maya smirked, or maybe you're underestimating them. Torque felt a pang of something unfamiliar, admiration. Aaron's warning. Later, Torque found Aaron Burke in the medical bay, bandaging a wound on his forearm. The skin around it was blistered, angry red. What happened? Torque asked. Aaron grunted. Toxic plant sap, tested a dose that was too strong, dumb mistake. You deliberately expose yourself to toxins. Aaron shrugged. Builds immunity, every scrape teaches us something. Torque recoiled. That is madness. No, Aaron said firmly. That's survival. You Valaxians play it safe. We push until something breaks, then we adapt. He fixed Torque with a tired stare. And if you think predators are dangerous, wait until you see how dangerous the Council gets when it realizes what Maya's doing. Torque's chest tightened. The Council already knows, and they are not pleased. Aaron's mouth curved in a humorless smile. Then we'd better show them results before they shut us down. The hive mind. That evening, Director Auken gathered humans and Valaxians in the conference room. His expression was grave. We've been preparing for something, he said. Something bigger than apex hunters, the real challenge on Nexus 9, the borrowing hive mind. Torque stiffened, his team hissed in alarm. The hive mind was a nightmare entity, a collective consciousness spread underground through kilometers of tunnels. It ensnared prey psychically, absorbing their minds until nothing remained. Valaxians had marked it as an exclusion zone, never to be approached. Maya's eyes lit with dangerous excitement. We think we've found a way to communicate with it. Torque slammed his claws on the table. Impossible. It does not communicate, it consumes. Lena Novick, another human researcher, leaned forward. Not if we use cognitive dissonance. The hive mind seeks compatible thought patterns. If we maintain contradictory patterns, spinning, shifting, inconsistent, it can't latch on. Zarn's appendages writhed. That is theory, not survival. But Aaken's voice was resolute. Tomorrow morning we attempt contact. Observation is welcome. Participation is voluntary. Torque's chest burned with dread. He had thought the apex hunters were the height of madness. But this was worse. And yet he saw the fire in Maya's eyes, the certainty, the hunger to prove that understanding was always possible. He realized he would follow her into the maw of a hive mind itself. The cliffhanger. Dawn broke crimson, bleeding across the alien sky. The convoy rumbled out of horizon, trucks laden with sensors, psychic dampening generators, medical kits. Valaxians rode alongside humans, every claw trembling, every heart pounding. An hour later, they reached the barren zone. The land was stripped bare, no plants, no animals, only symmetrical mounds rising from the cracked earth. The ground itself seemed to hum with a low, alien pulse. Maya stood at the front, wind tugging her hair. Her voice was steady. This is it, the hive mind. Torque felt the vibration under his feet, a pressure in his skull like invisible fingers brushing against thought. The hive was already aware of them. Lena activated the first dampening generator. The hum shifted, a psychic scream muffled into a whisper. Drone 1 advancing, Rajkumar announced. The small machine trundled forward, lights blinking in deliberate patterns. At 50 meters from the mound, it shuddered violently. Psychic contact initiated, Raj confirmed. Intrusion attempts rising. Engage dissonance, Maya ordered. The drone's neural network twisted into chaos, nonsense loops, paradoxes, contradictory impulses. The hive mind strained, then pulled back. It's working, Lena breathed. Then the mound pulsed with bioluminescent light, answering the drone's signals. Torque's breath caught, the hive mind was responding. And Maya's eyes blazed with triumph. Tomorrow, she whispered, I'll speak to it myself. Torque felt his chest hollow with dread. Because if the hive mind consumed her, humanity's fragile miracle would die with her. The barren zone stretched silent and endless, a graveyard of cracked earth and alien geometry. The mounds loomed like colossal termite hills, each pulsing faintly with a sickly blue glow. Torque felt the vibration in his carapace, a psychic thrum crawling through every nerve. Even at a kilometer's distance, the hive mind pressed against thought like invisible pressure. And tomorrow, Maya Patel wanted to walk straight into it. A reckless proposal. That night, under the sterile light of Horizon's lab, the humans reviewed the drone data. Patterns scrolled across screens, flashes of light, bursts of sound, rhythmic pulses. It's language, Maya said firmly. Simple concepts, escalating complexity, identity, territory, curiosity. This isn't just a predator brain. This is a society distributed across billions of nodes. Torque slammed a claw on the table. It devours other minds, entire colonies lost. You cannot befriend a force that feeds on thought itself. Maya met his outburst with infuriating calm. It doesn't understand individuality. To the hive, absorption isn't murder, it's sharing. We just need to show it why individuality matters. Cross spat bitterly, and how do you plan to do that? By offering your mind as a snack. Yes, Maya said simply. The room froze. Aaken's eyes blazed. Absolutely not. But Maya stood firm. The drone got us this far, but machines can't convey empathy. Connection requires vulnerability. That's what makes us human. Torque's mandibles clicked in horror. Vulnerability was death, and yet Maya spoke as though it were her greatest strength. Morning of the trial. At dawn, the convoy rolled out again. The Valaxians rode in uneasy silence. Zarn muttered prayers to his 6 ancestral deities. Gleek's ocular appendages twitched like nervous antennae. Even Kra, hardened as he was, checked and rechecked his shield generator. Torque stared at Maya across the truck bed. She looked calm, almost serene, her pack strapped tight, a portable dampening generator humming faintly at her belt. You will not return, Torque said flatly. Maya smiled faintly. Maybe not, but if I do, we'll have achieved something no one thought possible. Torque wanted to shake her to demand she choose survival over insanity. Instead, he whispered, Why? Why risk everything? Her eyes softened. Because if we can't learn to live with the dangerous and the alien, we'll never deserve the stars. The advance. The barren field shimmered with heat as they approached the mounds. The first line of drones moved ahead, broadcasting the universal signal elements. The hive responded in kind, bioluminescence pulsing like a heartbeat. Then Maya stepped forward. The dampening field flickered around her, shimmering like a heat haze. Sensors tracked her neural patterns, jagged and chaotic as she engaged, cognitive dissonance, contradictory thoughts looping inside her mind to repel intrusion. 70 meters, Rajkumar called, neural pressure increasing. Maya's step slowed, her breathing hitched. Feels like fingers in my head, pushy, curious. Maintain dissonance, Novak urged. 50 meters, contact stable. Torque's claws dug into the soil. Every instinct screamed to drag her back, to save her from the inevitable. 30 meters, Raj warned. Neural spikes rising fast. Maya staggered but straightened. I can hear it, not words, impressions, hunger, curiosity, confusion. Torque's mandibles trembled. He was watching a fragile human wrestle with a consciousness larger than mountains. The merge. At 20 meters, it struck. A psychic tendril lashed out, visible as a ripple in the air, distorting light. Maya gasped, clutching her head. The monitors spiked violently. Dissonance failing, Rod shouted. Trigger retrieval, Aachen barked. 3 suited humans sprinted forward with a portable dampening unit, but the tendril was already inside. Maya collapsed to her knees, her voice strangled. It's showing me everything. Torque's heart pounded. He knew this stage. It was the moment of no return when identity dissolved into the hive. But then something impossible happened. Maya's body stilled, her face smoothed. She lifted her head and her eyes, still human but glowing faintly with the hive's bioluminescence, opened wide. I understand now, she said in a calm, alien tone. It doesn't want to absorb me, it wants to share. Aachen's face twisted. That's the hive talking through you. No, Maya smiled faintly. It's both of us, partial consciousness sharing. I showed it what individuality feels like, and it showed me what unity feels like. The monitors stabilized. Not human waves, not hive patterns, but a hybrid. Torque's entire team recoiled. They were witnessing something that should have been impossible, a mind merged without destruction. The return. The retrieval team reached her at last, dragging her back behind the safe line. The hive's bioluminescence pulsed rapidly, as if in excitement. The translation algorithm stuttered but produced a chilling message. Understanding HFY, absorption unnecessary, communication preferred. Maya collapsed onto the ground, breathing hard but alive. Aachen crouched beside her. Are you still you? She laughed weakly. I think so, though I might dream in stereo now. Torque leaned close, all rattling his thorax. You changed it. No, Maya whispered. We changed each other. The cost of discovery. Back at Horizon, medical teams scanned Maya obsessively. Her neural patterns fluctuated, but she was stable. Exhausted, altered, but alive. The Valaxians huddled in their quarters. Gleeks trembled. This is blasphemy. She merged with a predator mind and survived. Zarn whispered, what if that is their true gift, not strength, not weapons, but the ability to make others see them, even monsters? Cross spat, or she has been compromised. We should report immediately. Torque stared into the distance. For the first time, he felt fear not of humans dying, but of what they might become if the Council tried to stop them. The Council's threat. That night, Torque's comm lit again. Commander Plux's image filled the room, his voice a hiss of fury. Torque explained the neural readings, the hive mind, the human. Torque recounted everything as carefully as he could. Plux listened in rigid silence. When Torque finished, Plux's mandibles clicked with rage. You fool! Do you understand what you've done? If humans can communicate with psychic predators, they will upset the balance of the galaxy. Entire civilizations depend on containment strategies. You will destabilize everything. Torque's chest constricted, and yet it worked. Plux leaned closer. You will end this, immediately, no further contact, withdraw or face tribunal. The hologram blinked out. Torque turned slowly to his team. Their eyes told him what he already knew. The Council would bury this discovery. They would bury the humans. And Torque was no longer sure he could let them. The cliffhanger. The next morning, Horizon awoke to alarms. Sensors screamed warnings across the camp. Something massive was moving underground, straight toward the settlement. Maya staggered out of the med bay, pale but determined. "It's the hive," she said. "It wants to continue the conversation." Torque's claws clenched. The mounds on the horizon glowed brighter, the earth trembling with their approach. And above it all, a message flickered across the translators. Connection REQESTD. INDIVIDUALS, collective, decision required. The hive was coming for them. And the council was coming too. The ground shook. At first it was subtle, like distant thunder beneath the soil. Then the tremors deepened, rattling tools from benches and sending cups of tea skittering across Horizon's mess tables. Torque braced himself against the dome's support beams, ocular appendages stiff with dread. His sensors confirmed what the humans already knew. The hive mind wasn't waiting anymore. It was coming. A divided camp. Director Akin gathered everyone in the central dome. The room buzzed with frightened voices until he slammed his palm on the table. "Silence, we all know what's happening. The hive is moving toward us." Dr. Novik's face was pale. "It's not an attack, it's communication." Cross snarled, "It is invasion. That thing absorbs minds by the millions. It does not converse." Maya, still weak but upright, leaned on the table. "It reached out because it wants more. It's not trying to destroy us, it's trying to understand us." Torque's mandibles clicked. "Or it is luring you closer for final assimilation." Maya met his gaze calmly. "If that were true, I'd already be gone." Aaron, arms crossed, spoke harshly. "Enough philosophy. The real question is, do we engage or do we run?" Akin's jaw tightened. "We don't run. If we run now, we'll never know what could have been." Torque's chest twisted. The humans weren't just stubborn, they were committed. Even facing a psychic ocean, they refused to turn back. The council strikes. Before the debate could continue, alarms shrieked again. A new signal flared in the atmosphere. Torque's blood ran cold. Valaxian ships. The holographic projector in the dome flickered, revealing Commander Plux's furious visage. "Humans of Horizon Outpost," Plux declared, his voice amplified across the camp. "You are in violation of Council safety protocols. Terminate all experiments with the hive mind and prepare for immediate extraction. Any refusal will be met with force." Gasps rippled through the humans. Aaron spat a curse. Akin stood tall, arms folded. "With all due respect, Commander, we don't answer to your council." Plux's mandibles flared. "You misunderstand. This is not negotiation. Continued interaction with the hive mind poses an existential threat. You will cease immediately or be neutralized." Torque felt every gaze in the room shift toward him. His claws dug into the table. Maya's voice cut the silence. "So that's it. You came here expecting to watch us die, and now that we're proving you wrong, you want to erase us." Plux's eyes narrowed. "You are reckless children playing with fire. The galaxy cannot afford your arrogance." Maya smiled faintly, though her face was pale with exhaustion. "Funny, that's exactly what they said about us when we split the atom, when we sailed across oceans, when we touched the moon." Choosing sides, the hologram snapped out, leaving only the drone of the hive approaching beneath the earth. Akin's voice was low, dangerous. "We have two enemies now, the hive if we mishandle this, and the council if we succeed." Aaron slammed his fist on the table. "Then maybe it's time we showed them both what humans are capable of." Torque's mind spun. His loyalties tore him in two. Council law demanded he assist in containment, even destruction. But the scientist in him, the being who had watched predators obey a human word, whispered that Maya might be right. Zarn leaned close, voice trembling. "Torque, what do we do?" Torque stared at the humans, then at his own trembling claws. For the first time, he realized neutrality was impossible. "We learn," he said hoarsely. "Until the very last moment we learn." The hive emerges. The ground split open at the edge of the settlement. Chunks of soil collapsed as bioluminescent tendrils writhed upward like glowing roots. The air thickened with psychic pressure, pushing against thought, searching for purchase. The humans braced behind dampening generators, their lights flickering with strain. Maya stood at the front, Aachen and Torque flanking her. "It's asking," Maya whispered. "It wants to know if we'll continue." "Answer no," Kra snapped. "Tell it to leave." Maya ignored him. She stepped forward, raising her hands. "We continue," she said aloud. The tendrils pulsed brighter. The translators struggled, then produced fragmented words. INDIVIDULS, collective, share, decide. Maya turned to Torque. "It wants us to choose, join or refuse, no middle ground." Torque's mandibles clenched. "If you join fully, you may never return." Maya's voice was quiet, steady. "If we don't try, we'll never know." The sabotage. Suddenly, Horizon's shield grid flickered. Consoles sparked. Generators overloaded. "Sabotage," Novik cried. Torque spun just in time to see Kra, his own security chief, pulling a disruptor from his belt. His mandibles were set in grim determination. "We end this now," Kra hissed. "We burn the hive before it consumes us all." He leveled the disruptor at the nearest dampening generator. Maya shouted no. But Kra fired. The generator exploded, sending a shockwave across the clearing. The protective field collapsed. Psychic pressure roared in, slamming through every mind like molten iron. Humans screamed, clutching their heads. Valaxians writhed, appendages flailing. Torque fell to his knees, his thoughts ripped apart by the hive's tidal surge. Through the chaos, one figure remained standing. Maya Patel. Her eyes blazed with twin lights, human and hive. She took a trembling step forward, arms spread wide. "Listen to me," she cried into the storm. "Don't take them, take me." The tendrils froze, hovering inches from her outstretched hands. Torque gasped for breath, his mind barely his own. He saw the hive hesitate, drawn to her, pulled by something he couldn't name. Something only humans had. The cliffhanger. The ground shook violently as more tendrils erupted from the mounds, encircling the camp. The humans staggered to their feet. The Valaxians clutched their heads. Kra raised his weapon again, fury in his eyes. Better we all burn than be devoured. But before he could fire, a thunderous roar split the night. From the tree line, the mother apex predator emerged, scales shimmering, eyes blazing, cubs at her side. She snarled, barring fangs at the encroaching hive tendrils. Torque's breath caught. The predators had come. Maya stood between them, the hive's tendrils before her, the predators at her back. For one heartbeat, the world held still. Then the hive's voice thundered through every mind. "Choose." The clearing was a storm of tension. Bioluminescent tendrils writhed like serpents across the soil, probing, pulsing, demanding. The hive mind pressed against every skull, its voice vibrating through bone and thought alike. "Choose." Behind Maya, the mother predator growled, her cubs crouched low, tails lashing. Their muscles tensed, ready to strike at the alien tendrils. To the hive, they were prey. To the predators, the hive was invasion. And caught between both was one fragile human settlement and one human woman standing with arms outstretched. "Maya's stand." Maya's voice cut through the cacophony. "Stop, both of you." The predators froze, eyes fixed on her. The hive's tendrils quivered, still but watchful. She turned slowly, looking first at the predators. "Mama Tiger, you know me. I've never hurt you, never hurt your cubs. Trust me." The mother predator's growl softened to a rumble, low but restrained. Then Maya faced the hive. "You asked for choice. Here it is, we live together, not absorbed, not destroyed, shared but separate." The tendrils pulsed. The translation device struggled before producing fragments. "Separate contradiction possible." "Yes," Maya said firmly, "possible." Torque stared, every nerve burning. He couldn't understand how she held the attention of two apex forces at once. She had no weapons, no shields, only conviction. And somehow, impossibly, it worked. Council arrival. But the sky burned. A Valaxian warship pierced the clouds, descending with shrieking engines. Its weapons arrays glowed crimson, targeting systems locking on horizon. Commander Plux's voice boomed from the ship's amplifiers. "This ends now. Step away from the hive or be annihilated." Panic rippled through the humans. Children cried. Scientists clutched each other. Aaron snarled, "They'll kill us all just to keep their tidy galaxy safe." Aakon's face hardened. "Not if we show them we won't be erased." Torque felt despair crash through him. His people were about to slaughter the very beings who had shown him a new way of thinking. Maya raised her voice loud enough for Plux to hear. "Commander, listen to me. You fear the Hive because you never tried to speak to it. You fear us because we dared. But you're wrong. We've made progress. Don't throw it away." Plux's reply was cold as steel. "Your progress is contagion. Better one world burned than the galaxy infected by your recklessness." The ship's cannons primed. The bond. The Hive tendrils recoiled from the warships, looming threats, psychic static vibrating the air. The predators snarled, tails whipping. Maya stood tall. "If you destroy us, you'll never understand. If you let us continue, you'll see there's another way." Torque's chest ached. He saw the lines drawn. Council law on one side, demanding destruction. Hive instinct on the other, demanding unity. Predators ready to fight for survival. And humans, fragile, stubborn humans, standing between all of them. The Hive's voice rippled through the translators. "Council threat decision." Maya closed her eyes, inhaled deeply, then opened them again with fire in her gaze. "Then I choose life. I choose coexistence. If you want me, take me, but leave the others." Torque lunged forward. "No, if you give yourself." But the Hive responded. Tendrils surged, enveloping Maya in shimmering light. Her body lifted from the ground, suspended in psychic energy. Aaron roared, "Maya!" The predators shrieked, lashing at the tendrils with fangs and claws. Sparks of bioluminescence exploded across the clearing. And in the sky, the Valaxian warship began its descent to fire. Breaking point. Torque's instinct screamed to flee, but his alien heart, knew fleeing was cowardice. Maya had given everything. If he abandoned her now, the Council's story would win. Humans reckless, Hive dangerous, predators beasts. But if he fought, if he defied, maybe the truth could survive. He turned to his team. Gleeks was trembling, but her eyes burned with resolve. Zarn's appendages quivered with fear, yet he nodded. Even Novik, a human, reached for his claw and whispered, "Help her." Torque stood tall, mandibles clenched. "Then we stand with her." The roar of unity. The mother predator leapt, slamming into a tendril with her full weight. The cubs followed, clawing, biting, tearing. Their roars merged with Horizon's alarms, a chorus of defiance. The Hive quivered, tendrils writhing, but not in rage, in confusion, in curiosity. Through Maya's glowing eyes, her voice echoed, layered with Hive resonance. "See them, predator, prey, alien, human, all choosing to stand, not to dominate, to live." Torque felt the words resonate inside him, striking deeper than sound. It wasn't just language, it was truth. The Hive's tendrils hesitated. But the warship did not. The strike. A crimson beam split the sky, arcing toward the clearing. The earth erupted in fire and dust. Horizon's shields collapsed instantly. Humans screamed. Valaxians staggered. Predators shrieked in pain. Torque was thrown hard against the soil, vision blurring. He saw Aaron dragging a child to cover. He saw Aaken shouting orders, his voice drowned in chaos. And he saw Maya, still suspended in the Hive's grasp, her body glowing brighter than the beam itself. Her voice rang out, calm amid the destruction. "Stop them!" The Hive responded. A shockwave of psychic force erupted outward, slamming into the warship. Its cannons flickered, its descent faltered. But the effort tore through Maya like lightning. Blood ran from her nose, her eyes. She fell. The Hive caught her before she hit the ground. The cliffhanger. Silence followed, broken only by the hiss of burning soil. Torque staggered upright, staring in horror. Maya lay limp in the Hive's tendrils, glowing faintly, her chest rising shallowly. The warship hovered, damaged but intact, weapons charging again. The predators circled the Hive's tendrils, snarling but hesitant. The Hive's voice pulsed through every mind, deeper than thunder. "She is our bridge. She must not break. Protect or perish." Torque realized the impossible had happened. The Hive was asking them to defend her. And above, the Valaxian cannons primed for one final shot. The clearing was silent, but for the hiss of scorched earth and the faint hum of Valaxian cannons overhead. Maya Patel lay cradled in the hive's tendrils, glowing faintly, chest rising with shallow breaths. Her face was pale, lips cracked, but she was alive, barely. Torque's every nerve screamed with fear. Above them, Commander Plux's warship loomed, weapons primed to obliterate Horizon, the hive, and every being in the valley. And then the hive's voice thundered through every mind. She is our bridge. She must not break. Protect or perish. The line is drawn. Humans scrambled to their stations, battered but unbroken. Aachen shouted orders, his voice carrying steel. Get the dampeners back online, protect the settlement. Aaron dragged crates into makeshift barricades, eyes blazing. If they want to fight, let's give them one. The predators circled Maya's still form, snarling at the sky, as if they understood she was theirs to guard. Their scales glittered in the firelight, their tails whipping furiously. Torque's team looked to him. Gleeks trembled but nodded. Zarn's ocular appendages quivered, but his voice was steady. We stand. Torque clenched his claws. For the first time in his career, he defied the Council openly. Then we fight for the truth, not for the Council, not for the hive, for her. Clash of wills. The warship descended lower, its speakers blaring. Plux's voice was a blade. Final warning, withdraw and surrender the human or be destroyed. Maya stirred weakly in the tendrils, her voice barely audible. Don't let them stop us. Torque stepped forward, mandibles spread. Commander Plux, if you fire, you will not destroy them, you will destroy knowledge. A bridge has been built, do not burn it. Plux's reply was ice. Knowledge without control is chaos, and chaos cannot be allowed. The cannons powered brighter. The hive's tendrils surged upward, wrapping around the predators in a shimmering cocoon of bioluminescence. The predators snarled but did not resist. Torque realized what was happening. The hive was amplifying them, binding their strength with its own. The hive's voice boomed again. Together, defense won. The first strike. The warship fired. A beam of searing plasma lanced toward Horizon. But this time, it struck a wall of flesh and light, predators braced within the hive's psychic field. Their scales shimmered like armor, their roars reverberating as the hive amplified their defiance. The beam split across them, scattering harmlessly into the soil. Humans gasped, Valaxians stared in disbelief. Maya whispered, her voice faint but clear. Do you see? Alone we die, together we live. The counter. Aachen slammed his fist on the console. Return fire. Aaron shook his head. We can't match their guns, but maybe we can blind them. He sprinted to the engineering bay, dragging Valaxian tech with him. Torque followed. Together, human improvisation and alien precision fused in minutes. They rigged Horizon's broken shield generators to emit a focused electromagnetic pulse. Unstable, dangerous, but their only chance. Ready, Aaron growled. On my mark. Outside, the hive and predators braced for the next volley. The warship circled lower, cannons humming like thunder. Now, Aaron shouted. The jury-rigged emitter screamed to life. A burst of electromagnetic force erupted skyward, crackling like lightning. The warship's lights flickered. Its cannons sputtered. For the first time, Plux's calm voice broke with anger. Unacceptable. The decision. The hive pulsed, its voice resonating across every mind. Finish them, consume, end. Torque staggered. The hive wasn't asking, it was demanding. Its instinct was still predatory. Victory meant devouring the threat. But Maya stirred again, forcing her voice through cracked lips. No, not that. Coexistence, remember. The hive hesitated, its tendrils quivered. For the first time, Torque understood it wasn't omnipotent, it was learning, and Maya was teaching. Torque stepped forward, forcing his thoughts outward as Maya had taught. Do not consume, show restraint, show choice. To his shock, the hive answered him. Choice, human lesson, restraint. Breaking the chain. The warship steadied, its weapons charging again. Plux's voice rang out, bitter with fury. If the hive refuses to finish you, then I will. But then another voice cut through the static, Zarn's. His ocular appendages stretched tall as he broadcast directly on the Council frequency. Commander Plux, this is Researcher Zarn. I testify under oath. The humans have achieved communication with predators and the hive. They have altered their behavior without violence. If you fire, you erase the greatest discovery in galactic history. Silence. Then Plux's voice returned, cold. You would betray your own people for these primitives. Torque raised his own voice, shaking but firm. Not betrayal, evolution. We cannot fear progress forever. The warship hung in the air, cannons glowing, torn between obedience to doctrine and the undeniable evidence unfolding below. Maya's last push. Maya's eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly with the hive's light. Her voice was barely more than a whisper, but it carried through the hive into every mind, human, Valaxian predator. We're not reckless, we're not invaders, we're builders. We build bridges with stone, with ships, with words. And now with you. The hive pulsed, the predators bowed their heads. Even the humans felt the weight of her truth. Torque's chest swelled. He realized this fragile, reckless human had done what no council had ever achieved. She had made predators choose peace. She had made a hive choose restraint. She had made aliens choose defiance against their own laws. The turning point. The warship's cannons flickered. Plux's voice cracked with fury. You endanger everything. You destabilize the galaxy. Aachen stood tall, glaring up at the ship. No, we save it, one bond at a time. At last, the cannons dimmed. The warship hovered, engines rumbling, but it did not fire. Plux's final words dripped venom. Very well, you may have won this moment, but the Council will not forget, nor will I. The ship rose, engines flaring, then vanished into the clouds. Aftermath. The hive's tendrils lowered Maya gently to the ground. Humans rushed to her side, medics swarming. Aaron gripped her hand, whispering fiercely, Don't you dare leave us. Torque knelt beside her, mandibles trembling. You changed everything. Maya smiled weakly, eyes half-lidded. No, we did together. The hive pulsed softly, its glow dimming into the earth. Its voice echoed one last time. Separate but united. Friends. The predators rumbled agreement, pressing their massive heads gently against Maya's side before vanishing into the jungle. Horizon Settlement stood battered but alive, and for the first time, Torque felt hope not just for humans but for the galaxy. Epilogue. Weeks later, Torque submitted his report. It was the most dangerous document he had ever written. Humans on Nexus 9 have achieved what the Council deemed impossible: coexistence with apex predators and communication with a psychic hive. Their methods, curiosity, resilience, compassion, defy our protocols but succeed where ours fail. Recommendation: supervised integration into galactic diplomacy, not suppression. He signed it with trembling claws, knowing it might end his career or change history. Outside, Maya walked slowly along the settlement perimeter, still recovering, but alive. Children followed her, laughing as the predator cubs bounded nearby, now part of their world. Torque watched her, his chest heavy with awe. Humans had not just survived Nexus 9. They had befriended it. And the galaxy, whether it wanted to or not, would never be the same.